dairy farmers have been hurting big time. I mean, they've really been getting banged up. Before the pandemic has just made it a whole lot worse. U.S. Congressman Mike Gallagher from the Green Bay area has some information on how we should help our dairy farmers. I had the chance to talk to Gallagher earlier today. Hey, you're doing important work on the dairy farm front. I want to get to that in a second, but first I want to ask you about stimulus efforts. It seems like the deadline's been extended. Will something maybe get done here? How do you feel about the prospects?
Well, it's possible. I think every day we get closer to the election, maybe it gets a bit more difficult. For the life of me, I can't figure out why Pelosi just doesn't allow us to pass something simple, like we got $130 billion in unspent PPP funding that we could get into the game immediately and help our small businesses out, as we're debating a bigger, grand bargain on liability protection in return for targeted relief. So my hope is we do something quick and targeted like that. And my other hope is we don't devolve into, something that would benefit disproportionately big states like California and New York while failing to provide targeted relief for Wisconsin. So we'll see. The final thing I'd say is that in order for us to pass anything, we have to be physically present in D.C., and of course the Speaker dismissed the House for a month, and we're not scheduled to be back until November 16th. So we should be back in session, hashing this out. It's more important than the election in some ways. So I get that people want to campaign, but we got to do our jobs.
Hey, I want to move on to the dairy issue because I know it's important to folks in the state and to you. The pandemic has really made milk prices even more unstable. Farms are struggling. You and Representative Ron Kind have a bipartisan effort here to do something about it. Explain your bill.
Well, really, prior to the pandemic, for more than 5 years, we know dairy farmers across Wisconsin have been navigating a really historically challenging environment, years of low milk prices, difficult trade environments. We got a huge win thanks to renegotiating NAFTA, the USMCA, which is important. But then the pandemic changed everything, and I think it hit a lot of dairy farmers hard. So what Ron and I are trying to do is create something called the Dairy Pricing and Policy Commission that would establish an outside group to take a long-term look at the problems facing Wisconsin farmers, and we'd get 18 experts across the agricultural, academic, and dairy industries to take a hard look at why we're having decreasing milk prices and decreasing farmer incomes, farm closures, consolidation in the industry, and come up with long-term solutions, just not temporary stopgap measures. And as someone who led a similar effort on cybersecurity, this is often a good way that Congress can force a outside-the-box, long-term look at a difficult problem. And so I'm hoping we get this passed in this Congress and move forward with the commission.